had to clearly define my priorities, right? And I had to say that, okay, maybe my business isn't going to grow as fast as it would, but I'm not going to miss a basketball game.
Your health is above anything else. Like if you're not healthy, you can't do all that.
In business or in life, like you've got to have those regular check-ins with your partners, whether it's your business partners work directly underneath you, or it's your partner in life. All right, welcome to the Balanced CEO podcast. Leighton and Joleen, thank you guys so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So today we're doing something a little different. If you've been watching episodes, it's usually been one-on-one. Today it's one-on-two. That's for a specific reason. I think this is an amazing opportunity to highlight how a couple that not only works together, travels together, how they manage things in a setting that, might not be too unique to what you're dealing with at home. So hopefully this gives you an opportunity to learn a little bit about how to manage a life where you're both business owners. Because I know that's something for myself I deal with my wife and I both being business owners. We're in different companies, so it's a little bit different animal, but working together, owning a business together, having kids together, your job also requires you to travel together. So we're going to kind of chunk away at that over time. I don't want to get into all of it at once and scare everybody away from starting a business with their partner. But let's just get into it. Why don't you guys give a little background? Like, how'd you meet? This is good.
That's a funny story, how we met. We met at a CrossFit gym. And we did one of the first workouts. We did a partner workout against each other.
And I won.
He won, but he only won because he had a better partner. Let's just go there, because we both know how competitive I am. But yes, he won our first workout, and I think we just kind of went from there. Unfortunately, that gym is no longer open.
Oh.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why we do what we do here. But that was how we met, and we spent 3 hours talking in the car the first night afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a connection there pretty early on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys started talking in the car, doing fitness. You're dealing with, the loss of the workout and understanding, obviously, superior specimen. It's just tough.
That was tough.
So, as you guys are going along, you're dating, you're going through things. When did the idea, let's open a gym, was it when that gym closed, or was it just longer down the line, something natural?
So I was actually pregnant with our first son, which I do not recommend what I'm going to say we did that anybody else do. And you tell the story, because it was you working out with a gym owner.
Yeah. So actually, she was pregnant, but my job, I spent 20 years in the military. My job had moved to a different location. I took a position out at Fort Indian Gap in Pennsylvania, and we switched gyms to a friend that they were a friend of the first gym that we met at.
Okay.
And the actually gym that we met at took 60-some members from this guy. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyways, he's running the gym, and I became semi-friends with him. We were working out together one day, and he's like, hey, I'm thinking about selling the gym. And I'm like, okay, what price do you want? And he gave us a price, and I'm like, okay, we'll come to you next week with whatever payment you need.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so it just kind of fell in your lap a little bit.
Well, so I got a text. He skipped this part of it. I got a text. Hey, you want to buy a gym? Okay, like randomly out of the blue. I didn't think this was a thing. As I am, at that point I was like 8 months pregnant with our son. And my response was, sure, it'll be great to work out with all my friends.
Isn't that how all of us felt? Yes. I don't want to call it a trap, but it was definitely, that was one of the pits of buying a gym or opening a gym in the late 2000s, early 2010s was the whole immaculate idea that we were going to just hang out with our friends, work out all day, and people just flood in the door.
Yeah. So the purchase went through when my son was 10 days old.
Okay.
Yes. And we had taken over managing. So that was when I was answering emails in the hospital after having had him. I've told this story a few times, but don't do that. Don't. If any of you are trying to get into a business with your spouse, don't buy a business when you have a young baby. right? We were also both still working full-time jobs at that time. So he was still in the military and I was still a teacher. I left soon after. But that was really kind of how we fell into the fitness industry.
Yeah.
The story is fairly similar to a lot of people. I mean, obviously the pregnancy part and the whole, like, it happened on a text and a week later it was done. But, the whole idea, impulsivity, it definitely is a thing with gym owners I'm starting to find. Is like, it's definitely, I don't know if we all have ADHD or what, but that high impulse rate is crazy. Yeah. So, let's talk about fast forward a little bit. Yeah. You guys now own multiple gyms.
We do.
And you're on the hunt for third or fourth?
So it will technically be our fourth. We sold the first one. We don't have that one anymore. We sold that because we moved away from it. Actually, we sold it during COVID, believe it or not.
Okay.
And opened another location in my hometown.
Okay.
We purchased another location in June of 2024, and now we're looking for the next one or two in 2025.
So you're doing all this while maintaining a healthy relationship, while maintaining 2 kids that we'll get to the specifics on that in a minute, and working together. So where's the decompression time? How does that work?
Yes.
Because I feel like there's not a lot of opportunity for like time out, going to respective corners.
Let's add to that. There's actually a third. I have an 18-year-old who's a senior in high school, and we're planning the transition for her into college.
Yeah, she's a hustler.
Yes.
Right? She's playing travel basketball internationally.
Yes.
High level in high school. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that's a ton of time and effort as well.
Yeah, so you want to go first in the decompression? What do you do?
Yeah, people love to hear this stuff.
Yeah, I wish I could say there was a lot of decompression, but I think being able to just get the workout in, and I work out alone, so that's pretty much it. I do play video games and stuff like that too, so that's about it.
There's no shame in video games. You're not the only one. Just in this week of being here and interviews have said video games is the decompression technique. For me, and I've said this multiple times, my video games are slot machines. They're much more expensive video games, but I also don't do it as often. But still, it's like that. There's a mind numbingness to it where my brain just turns off and I stop thinking about whatever's dragging on me.
I think the heart rate thing for you with video games is really interesting.
Mm.
So when he plays games, his heart rate drops. So he might be playing a game like Fortnite or I don't even know what he plays. Call of Duty, thank you.
Yeah.
And when most people would be excited, it lowers his heart rate. So it's
almost
calming.
like you're in like a comfort zone, like you know what to do. Yeah. It's okay. That is interesting because I know when I play Call of Duty, my heart rate is through the roof. Talking shit to 8-year-olds, like.
I've heard him do that to our 8-year-old too.
Yeah,
so
I'm talking to anybody and everybody. I'm pissed off. I'm terrible at it. So, like, let's get into this first part because I think people are really interested in hearing the dynamic, right? So, do you guys kind of have very specific roles and, things that you do in the business based on your expertise so that way you guys aren't constantly crossing streams? Like, how does that work? Did you guys do that initially or did that take time to evolve into kind of understanding how to stay in your lane, so to speak?
Yeah, so initially we did it and then we ignored it. And that was not great.
That's real.
Right? And so one of the things that I think is pretty evident about me from anybody who talks to me is I am very much a planner. I like to know things. I like order. I like to direct things. I like to, I'll just put it out there. I like to control things, right? Like that is me. And so I'm the one who probably didn't stay in the lane of where I should be. But for now, he is marketing and sales. Digital marketing is something he's really good at. I don't begin to understand it or how to do it, but he's really good at it. And I handle more of the rest of overseeing the rest of the stuff. So more the CEO part of the role.
That's fair. So more, if we were going to kind of look at it from a traction standpoint, more visionary, more integrator, but specifically in the marketing and sales department.
Right.
I would say I'm more on the ops line too, just because of that organization and order.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that makes a ton of sense. But now you guys have your lanes. It's very easy to kind of stay. Obviously, we're not all perfect.
It's me. When we go out of it, it's me who's going out of the lane.
There's always one.
Yeah.
So tell me more about this expansion. Like, how did you guys get to the point, and I'm sure it wasn't impulse-based, this is planned now. You know, you've gotten into this space, you're selling one, you're getting into more. I know you've also changed models pretty drastically from where you started.
Yeah.
So are you guys kind of working this together, or are you kind of steering the ship and he's making sure you're getting the right clientele? Like, is it kind of...
I think that's a pretty good description of it. He brings in the clients that fit that. But I think we had a shared vision. So the way when we changed our model was COVID. COVID is what changed our model. We were a large group fitness facility, and it was really rough on those. And when we came back from that, we're in our main gym is in a small community, and people didn't want that large group anymore. What we were seeing is that people wanted the individualized attention, personalized. They still wanted connection and community, but they didn't want to be around a lot of people. So we shifted over to more small group and personal training type of model, and that actually skyrocketed really our business.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting too, because a lot of people are like, oh no, I want community, I want socialization. But and gym owners are like, okay, so you want to be in a class of 20. But what they're saying is they want to be in a class of like 6.
Yeah.
They still want the coach to have enough time to individually coach them.
Right.
And I don't care who you talk to or how good of a coach you are. You're not individualizing anything with 20 people in a class.
We found 4 is actually really our sweet spot
Wow.
for what we do. So it's more small group personal training.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the dynamic. So clearly, based on your lanes, you guys have completely different personality types.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do you manage that? Because you have to context switch so many times in a day together.
Yeah.
There's no like separation. You have to context switch being parents, co-parenting, co-business owning, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different things you have to kind of switch back and forth on. How do you guys manage that? And before we go any farther, if anybody expects there's no fighting, you guys still have some sort of harmonious relationship, you've probably never been in a relationship to begin with. That doesn't exist even when you don't work together.
Yeah.
So
I could probably tell you one of the best things was having 2 locations with 2 separate offices.
oh, there's your separate corners right there.
Yeah. So even if we are in a disagreement and fighting, we don't have to show that because we can be in 2 different locations and still communicating.
Okay.
But how do we context switch? I think, and I'm going to be honest, it's having a schedule for me, at least. It's having a schedule and knowing that, okay, the kids are at school at this time and now we have time to work. And the kids need picked up here, and this is who's focusing on kids at this time, and this is who's focusing on business. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, like in the evenings, I'm primarily the one who focuses on the kids, and if there's anything business related in the evening, he's handling it. Is that a general?
Yeah, I mean,
great.
I think in the past that I didn't really switch, just because I don't think I knew how.
Yeah.
And it was just work. And now, as of like the last, I want to say 6 months, I put more intentional focus on this thing or that thing. So
that's awesome. And that's a big part of what listeners really want to learn about, because I think there's a lot of people that fall into that trap that you're talking about, where it's like, no, if I don't work 12 hours a day, everything's going to fall apart. Right? Like I'm failing someone somewhere, but it's easy for us to turn to our family and go, it's okay if I fail you because you're not going anywhere. But everybody has that like final straw. Everyone has that, okay, that's it. We've gotten too distant. And I think it's important to understand that like, yes, there are seasons where you're going to work your ass off and it's going to require a ton of discipline and determination and focus. But you still got to find that hour, right, where the kids feel like they're seen and heard. You got to find that time to get to the basketball games, and then still be that business owner that's growing a business, buying a new location, getting it off the ground, or saving it because something happened, right? A pipe burst. Like there's always something.
I think for me, it all comes down to I had to clearly define my priorities, right? And I had to say that, okay, maybe my business isn't going to grow as fast as I want, but I'm not going to miss a basketball game, right? So even when we were talking about this and we were planning times, my daughter has a game right after this. I'm going to go watch her on live stream. And if for some reason I missed dinner because of that, it's because I made my family the priority. And before that, I did have the hard time switching as well because I thought, well, what if we don't get enough clients in? What if we can't pay the bills? What if we can't pay the staff? But my priorities were all wrong. And I think for me, that what you said, that switching point, I have a senior in high school. Like I started to realize I was losing time that I could never get back from that. And I had to make changes to make sure I was there.
Yeah, that's so crucial. And I kind of tell people all the time, they're like, why are you taking so much time away while he's young? Because I'm like, because 12 or 13, eventually he's not going to want to have anything to do with me, and I can go back to working as much as I want and show up to sports and be around. But
you might find that that's not true.
And if that's not true, I'll keep going the way I am.
Yeah.
But like I have this window where I'm like I'm the coolest guy in the world to him, and I'm going to take advantage of that while I can. So that makes a ton of sense. I do want to talk about that. I know you guys have neurodivergent kids.
Yep.
And for those that maybe don't know, that could be autism, ADHD. I'm technically neurodivergent because I'm ADHD. So can you guys talk about how that, I know that's kind of a completely different world, managing kids that not only are neurodivergent, but they're on two different ends of the spectrum in terms of their needs.
So and not just that, we have to manage as a family because in our communications, Leighton's also neurodivergent, and so we communicate very, very differently. I'll say something and he'll repeat it back to me, and that's not what I said at all. And he'll say something to me, and I'll do the same. He's like, that's not even close. So when we talk about our kids, my one is very much routine driven, fairly stable routine driven. My other is very much nervous system regulation. So she's the one I say that always needs the time. And so when I talk about priorities, some of it is because I have to devote that time to her. And I'll give you guys an example. She's 6 years old. She still can't sleep on her own because she needs, in order to sleep, she needs to be touching somebody for her system to be regulated enough to sleep, or when she wakes up, it's in a panic. And so that's really hard when, sleep is when you get refreshed.
Yeah.
But I woke up to being punched in the face the other night from sleep because she was having a bad dream that somebody was stealing her. So when we talk about like the priorities in our family, some of it was forced.
Yeah.
Some of it was, well, somebody has to be able to step back to be there for the kids because they need that extra.
That's interesting because my son's the same way. He's 6. He sleeps with my wife. I sleep in the other room, and I'm fine with it because honestly, his development has skyrocketed since we just finally admitted he's not going to sleep in his own bed. Like he is just too anxiety driven at night. And I'm like, let it happen until he's ready to move on. Like, and some people might scoff at that, but it makes him happy. It makes my wife happy. It makes me happy that he's getting real sleep and he's not waking everybody up multiple times a night. So, I think everybody needs just a little bit of different things. And so you talk about communication. Obviously, they all have very specific needs.
Yeah.
You got an 18-year-old that needs to get to basketball and probably has a ton of just real-world 18-year-old problems.
Yes.
You've got,
oh, yes.
You've got your son, who's very, rigid, right? And then you've got your daughter, who's very much not rigid.
Yep.
Do you guys find ways to balance that, like tasking each of you has tasks, or is it more like one person's in charge in the morning, one person's in charge, kind of more leading the charge at night?
I think for us, it's honestly we use a Skylight calendar. I don't know if you've ever heard of those.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that.
But all of the tasks are on there. As far as managing it all, I think it makes more sense for one person, just to kind of manage all of it and then direct tasks out. But I will say, he communicates much better when our son needs something with him. because
Okay.
my brain doesn't necessarily work in the same way. Like I can be saying something to Caden and Caden's ignoring me, not hearing it. And Leighton goes over and it's instantaneous. Like he gets it. It's the opposite with Brinley. So we kind of split up who is communicating with the kids in the best way.
Yeah.
Because him and Brinley butt heads.
Hey, it happens.
She loves her daddy. She is all about daddy is the best daddy in the entire world.
But you have those
Until it's
personality conflicts.
Yes.
You're probably too much alike in some ways, and that
Yes.
actually has the opposite effect. I noticed
Yeah.
that with my son. My wife and him have a lot of personality traits. So my wife gets pissed at shit that he does, that she does. And I'm like, you're just mad because he's like a mirror to you. I need to talk to him about this because you're just, like it's setting you off. And I'm like, but I can talk to him. And, oh, I get it. So it's like, yeah, sometimes it just happens, man.
Yeah, what did I miss with that with Caden the other day? I don't even remember what I said. I'm like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. He is not listening to me. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. They're kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're wild cards at all times. Neurodivergent or not, it's just a wild card. You never know what you're getting. So with that, you guys are balancing all of this. How do you get your fitness in? Like, I know you own gyms, but let's not kid ourselves. For anyone that doesn't own a gym, that does not guarantee you have time to work out. A lot of gym owners actually have to go to another gym that they don't own just to have the time to work out.
Yeah, you actually did that.
Yeah, actually, I did that for a while. I have a membership to a Globo gym or whatever you want to call it, that I would just go there, in between both of our gyms, right in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go there, swim, lift, whatever, and then go back to work.
Okay. So did you have a set time or was it just a priority?
Just get it in.
Yeah, like Joleen said, like she has priority tasks. Like it's going to get done no matter what. Like I'm going to find the time. So that's kind of
well, it was kind of when it fit in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it a priority now. Like, hey, I must get 4 workouts in a week.
Okay. Joleen, how about you?
No surprise, it's on my calendar. It's scheduled.
Time blocked.
Yeah, and I will review at the beginning of the week and like shift. So it doesn't have to be like 1 o'clock every day, but I will plan it in to make sure that it happens. And I think that's for anybody who's really struggling, even like clients coming to the gym, we have the conversation, like you've got to treat this as a plan in your life or it's not going to happen.
So, Leighton, if you were going to talk to somebody that's like me, right? I'm a get it in where I can fit it in kind of guy.
Right.
But I don't own my own business, so I don't have that like ability to just be like, oh, I've got a free hour. Like I can't just leave work.
Right.
Do you have any recommendations for like how they can do it or how you would talk to a member that needs to balance it, but maybe even business owners, right? Like there's a lot of times where we guilt ourselves and go, oh, if I leave right now, oh, everything could go to hell or oh, this email has to be sent when it doesn't really.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only thing I could say to somebody that's, kind of get it in type of person would be, I mean, your health is above anything else. Like if you're not healthy, you can't do all that other shit, and
Fucking right.
Yeah. And making time, whether it's in the beginning of the day or the end of the day, if you can't fit it in the middle of the day, I mean, you just have to do it for me, it's for the kids, for Joleen. So we're 195 years old together. Or
I don't want to live that long. I'm sorry.
She would get tired of me by then.
Yeah, so Joleen, tell me, like, for skylight people,
Yeah.
I'm just going to start calling them the skylights.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize it? Because time blocking is so important.
Right.
And there's 80 other things you could time block in any hour, 30 minutes, whatever time you have. How do you reconcile that in your brain that, like, this hour has to be fitness?
Yeah.
Right? Is it like if I do this, I'll be refreshed for the next block? Or is it more like, I have to do this for my own health? Like, how do you...
I am a terrible parent and a terrible spouse if I don't work out. So that's how I reconcile it. Like some people get hangry. I get that way with workouts. And so for me, like it's not necessarily like, do I need it for my health? It's really, do I need it to interact with other people in a way that's professional and kind?
Okay.
So
kind of that Dan Martell, tame the body, tame the mind kind of
Yeah.
mindset. Like get that, tame it, and then the rest of the day is kind of
Yeah.
easy.
yeah, and honestly, I don't do my workouts until the afternoon just because of the way it flows in my day. But if I know it's coming, it's enough to make a difference.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah, I think I actually get up every single morning and look at my schedule, and then I would say plan my day accordingly. I don't time block because that's too specific or
Yeah.
detailed for me. But that's when I know when I'm going to get it in.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
Time blocking I can do. I do some time blocking. I talk about it in the book. I go through stretches where I can do time blocking, but eventually my ADHD, I'm like, I have to, like, this is too controlled. I need to.
Well, I think we actually found for him that time blocking, it made it too rigid.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to switch if something happened. So like if the kids needed to leave school and he had something on the calendar that was a time block, it was hard to shift away and say, I have to leave it and go do something else.
I don't want to say I freak out, but
Yeah.
I would freak out.
Right. Yeah, that's the autism.
Yeah, I would like, it's the ADHD for me of like, I just set my brain up to go into this deep focus, and now I have to come out of this deep focus, and now I'm like a raging loon. Because like,
I feel that.
yeah, it took forever to get into this focus. So let's talk about, you mentioned regulation,
Yeah.
right? I know with kids on the spectrum, there's a lot of regulation, emotional regulation necessary. But how about for a couple that is also business partners?
Yeah.
Like, where's the regulation there? Like, you guys talked about how you have opposite offices and you kind of work out and do stuff, or you'll play video games. But in the heat of the moment, whether you're married or you're just business partners, there's going to be fights. There's going to be conflicts that get a little out of control. Like, how do you guys find time to regulate? How do you regulate that? And then part B to that is, how do you regulate when the kids have pushed you over the edge and you can't separate and go to your own jobs after a really rough morning?
We used to be terrible at it, and honestly, we still are sometimes, right? So just
We all are.
We all are.
Yeah.
But what I have found, and I'm just going to speak for myself because I'm sure his is different, is that if I step away from it, even if it's literally going and sitting on the floor of the closet in my bedroom where it's dark and nobody knows where I'm at, and I can still hear them like yelling or the kids screaming, that 1 or 2 moments of quiet really helps. So for me, it's just stepping away, right? And I think that deregulates him sometimes because I'll just walk away and he's like, no, we need to talk about this. I'm like, I need some time. But that's my regulation is the quiet time away.
Anything?
Yeah, I'm going to say I don't deregulate very well. Just because we'll say I'm a fight when it comes to fight or flight. So I want to get it resolved and just deal with that shit and move on.
I understand.
Yeah.
Video games help you regulate.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but I'm getting better at removing myself from the situation.
Yeah.
And for anybody that's listening, you have to tell your partner that you're coming back.
Yes.
You can't just be like, I'm out, and
I think that's where
Yeah,
we still
can't leave it
mess it up
open-ended.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I'll just walk away and he's like, no. I'm like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're, well, especially for me too, I'm literal. So if you tell me I'm walking away, like to me, you're telling me you're leaving, like
Yeah.
and not coming back. You have to add that part of like that definitive, I'm leaving,
right.
but I'm coming back. I just need time.
Yeah.
So my phrase is I'm done. And that I'm done doesn't mean I'm done with us. I'm done with
Yeah.
our marriage. I'm done with our businesses. It means I'm done with this conversation in this moment. And I need it to continue at another time. But until I learn to say I'm coming back, he thinks, well, I'm done in our marriage. I'm done
Yeah.
in our business. I'm done in life. Like, it's that
Yeah.
communication.
Lex says the same thing. She says I'm done, and again I hear it the same way. And I have had to train myself that she's just saying she's done with this moment
Yeah.
and not the next 30 years.
Yes.
You know?
Well, and it takes some awareness to even just say you're done too.
Yeah.
Like, so to say, I'm done with this, I can't, nothing productive is coming from this, we're not getting anywhere, we need to revisit this at another time. I think it took a lot to get there, and then to add the piece on the end, like, we need to come back to this, is
Yeah.
important.
Because we used to be horrible. horrible at it.
We developed the timeout. So when this
Okay.
goes up
Oh,
and
I
we say
like that.
timeout, that's our,
Nice.
this has gotten too heated and we both know, or at least one of us is cognizant enough to realize
Yeah.
this is not going to come to any type of resolution while we're in this state.
Right, and at the end of the day, most of it's not important anyways.
Yep.
Right,
It's usually not when you stop and look back at it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, some of the business stuff maybe, but not really.
We actually, our first or second mentor with Two Brain, because we started in 2016.
Wow.
Uh,
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
2017.
We actually took a call with Coop.
February 2017.
February 2017, a call with Coop when he was still taking sales calls. And that's how we got signed up. It was great. But anyways, where was I going with that?
You had a mentor.
Oh yeah, we had a mentor that was like, you need to have business meetings once a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, we work in the business, every day together.
Yeah.
Why am I going to sit down and have a business meeting once a week?
When that was first broached to me, I think it was when I read the Traction book back in 2017, 2018. And I was like, hey, we're going to do these management meetings every Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And my manager at the time was like, hallelujah. Like this dude who is like just all over the place is finally going to give me time to just tell him what we need to do.
Yeah.
But like to me, I was like, we're going to do this, but it's going to last a month because I can't stand the idea of this rigidity in my life. But it's carrying like 7-8 years later, and I'm still religiously doing
Nice.
Monday management meetings. It's one of the few rigid things in my life. But it's something I think more people need to understand, whether it's in business or in life. Like you've got to have those regular check-ins with your partners, whether it's your business partners, you're the people who you work directly underneath you, or it's your partner in life if you're not working together. Like you've got to have these regular check-ins. So shit isn't just building, trash isn't just overflowing and then getting into every other aspect of your life.
Well, and I think it also helps that instead of talking about business at dinner, right, while the kids are there, or instead of talking about business while you're driving the car on the way to an event, you've got to set time that, all right, unless this is an emergency and there is something major in the gym that is going to break that we have to fix now, this can wait until tomorrow's meeting, or this can wait until Friday's meeting, right? We can talk about the marketing plan another day and know that this is coming up. And I think one of the questions you asked me is with travel. What's the same thing with our staff? Right? I have meetings with them once a week. They know what is coming up, what the plan is, and it's really helped to just keep things running and in line.
And they don't have to sit there waiting, unsure of what's coming next and when they might see you again.
Yes.
And that's something I've struggled with because I am so removed from the gym that I have to make sure I'm there a little bit more often, just for FaceTime. Like we did the love languages test, and a lot of them came back, like whether it was number one or it was in the top 3 was quality time.
Yeah.
And I realized a lot of the disconnect I have with my staff has to do with the fact that I'm not giving them enough quality time, just hanging out. And I think that's important. I think it's really important to understand, like, yeah, you're trying to balance and you're trying to live whatever perfect day you're living, but your staff still wants to like know what's going on and have some FaceTime.
All of my management team has an hour a week with me, every single one of the management level staff. We might do a workout during that time. We might plan something during that time, but they have an hour of my undivided attention, and that's at all of the businesses.
That's a great idea that I'm going to steal. And I may or may not give you credit. Probably because this is
You don't
going public, I'll have to give you credit
That's
for
all
it.
right. You don't have to. As long as it helps.
No, it definitely helps because I never thought about that idea of like just, hey, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, it's your hour.
Yeah.
You know, usually it's in our conference room and that gets
But there's something about, like, especially for the staff, that quality of time is their thing. Maybe that workout, they come up with a fantastic idea for a problem you guys have been trying to solve forever.
that's awesome.
So,
So tell me, let's talk a little bit about travel. It's kind of one of our last topics here. So you guys talk a lot about travel. You travel a lot, whether it's for speaking engagements or Tinker meetups, because you are running the show here at Tinker now, or it's Summit. There's just a million different reasons to be traveling and learning and sports and everything else. How do you guys manage the kids, being watched? Like, do you guys have someone set for that? Is that like you're lucked into someone that you can trust?
we're lucky that my mother lives close by.
Okay.
And And so while now the 18-year-old's old enough to, as long as she doesn't throw a party, she did one time while we were gone. That's a fun
we
story.
all do.
Yeah, that's a fun story. She will never do it again. My mom watches our younger kids while we travel. We try to take them with us. So you talked about being at Chicago for the Two Brain Summit. I would say 80% of the years our kids have been there with us. And we bring somebody along to watch them. We are going to Spain for Two Brain in April.
Yeah.
We're making it a family vacation.
That's so cool.
And I grew up with a grandfather who was an international relations professor. So he would take me everywhere. And I want my kids to have the experiences and the culture of living a really privileged life. Like way more privileged than I ever had. But they need to see that this doesn't exist for everybody, right? They don't get to go to whatever school they want or play whatever sports they want, or if they want, a new video game, that the resources are there. So that's for me why I travel a lot, is to show them the world. Plus it's also fun.
I love the idea of my kid getting cultured.
Yeah.
And not through a TV, but through understanding everywhere he goes, people do live differently. It's not this way everywhere, even just within the United States.
And I don't know if he likes the idea as much as I do, but he goes along with it. So.
Yeah, I don't mind traveling. I mean, I said I was in the military for 20 years. I traveled a lot.
Yeah, you got stationed.
Yeah, well, and I've been in every state in the U.S. except for 3.
Okay.
And
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah, but I was in Europe, Berlin, France, that kind of stuff. So I don't mind traveling at all.
One of the things that I think we learned with the travel, when we talk about neurodivergent kids, there are some routines we still have to keep
Yeah.
when we travel. And so that is how we do it with kids on the spectrum. The one doesn't care. She just wants to do new stuff because it's a dopamine release or hit, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. The other one, he has to have the same bedtime pattern every single day, or it will not go well.
And that's, for people that, whether their kids are on the spectrum or not, I mean, I think that's important to understand that, like, you can travel with your kids. The idea that Johnny's going to scream in the plane, like, yeah, kids do that. Yeah. They're going to have problems they're going to act up at times. They're going to look selfish. They're going to look like tantrum. Like, it's all going to happen. You have to learn to find those rhythms.
Yeah, so Brindley has meltdowns. And any parent who has a kid on the spectrum will understand a meltdown. It's not a tantrum. It's very different. It's like they're stuck in something. And she'll have a meltdown and everybody looks at you like you're a bad parent.
Right.
But you just have to get over that stuff and realize that, like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
This is my family, my kids, my life, and I want them to experience this and go with it. And so even if it's just a tantrum, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's best if you're in an international airport or wherever they don't speak your language. That's the best.
Yeah, that's great.
That, I can see the awkwardness in that. Like, I hope they're not telling me that, the police are coming and I have no idea what they're saying.
We have gotten through to them that there are certain things you can't say in TSA lines.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. That's awesome, man. You guys are really living a cool life. Finding a way to balance this, taking your kids traveling with you like that. That's so cool. They're living a really cool life. They are lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky kids. Is there anything you guys want to say? Do you want them to follow you anywhere? Is there anywhere you want them to see?
Yeah, so my social media, it's just at Joleen Bingham for Instagram. I'm not really all over social media.
That's
I
okay.
have a website, but Instagram's the best place to see me.
We'll drop that in the details. Leighton, you got anywhere you want them, or you just like find me on Call of Duty so I can smoke you?
Find me on Call of Duty or Fortnite so I can smoke you.
How are you?
I have Facebook, I have Instagram. You can just look at me up by my name, but I'm not a big poster or anything.
Cool. And if they want to if there's gym owners out there that want to find you about Two Brain, is there email or anything you want them to find you at?
Yeah, so honestly, I would just say contact me on Instagram and I'll direct you. It's probably the easiest place. I'll direct you to where to go. But if you are a gym owner and you want a life like this, we can help you get there.
Yeah.
Like, we want you to be with your family. We want you to have the money to travel. We want you to love the business that you own and wake up excited to go to work every day. And that's what gets me really fired up to talk to people. It's like, I want you to have the same freedom that I have.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, 3 years ago I joined a room like this and I've lost a lot of weight and I've changed in a lot of ways because I got around people that I was like, okay, this is who I want to be. So it works, guys. Thank you guys again so much for being here. Appreciate your time. And you got a basketball game to go watch.
I do.
And then we got some steak dinners to go
Yes.
eat.
Yes, I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, I am looking forward to that. Those pictures keep calling my name.
Thank you.
And as always, keep digging in.